Today's story is about a guy who kept account, not because he was petty, because he needed to know if what he was feeling was real. 9 rejections, 17 days, 8 weeks without his wife wanting to be close to him. And every single time he brought it up, somehow he ended up being the problem. But here's the part that actually ended the marriage. His wife didn't get upset when he finally stopped trying. She smiled, said things felt better this way, that this was how it should be. He didn't argue, he didn't beg, he just started packing. This is that story. After weeks of hearing, "Not tonight," I quit reaching out. She smiled. "See, this is how it should be." So I packed my bags. What happened after still haunts her. Me and Dana had been married 4 years when things started shifting. Not in any dramatic, obvious way. No screaming matches, no bombshell moments. It was quiet, gradual. The kind of slow drift you don't recognize until you're already deep inside it, and the shore is further away than you realized. I'm an operations coordinator at an architectural firm. Dana works as an account manager at a consulting company downtown. On paper, our setup was solid. A row house in Federal Hill, decent incomes, a routine that mostly worked. Dinner together most nights, TV on the couch, weekends running errands or checking out whatever was happening around the city. Normal married couple stuff. At least that's what I kept telling myself. It started on a Wednesday night in late September. I don't remember the exact date, but I remember the feeling like it was last week. We'd both gotten home from work around 6, made dinner together, talked about our days, watched a show. Nothing unusual. Around 10:45, we headed upstairs. I wasn't planning anything dramatic. I just reached over while she was setting her alarm, touched her shoulder, kissed the back of her neck. Simple affection. The kind of thing that used to just happen naturally between us. She pulled back immediately. "Not tonight, Owen. I'm just not feeling it." I backed off right away. Of course. She settled into her pillow and was out in 15 minutes. I lay there on my side, staring at the ceiling, doing math I really didn't want to be doing. That was the 4th time she'd said no in recent days. Monday, too tired. Tuesday, headache. Thursday, the week before, stressed from work. And now this. When had we last actually been close? I counted back. 6 weeks. I told myself it was just a phase. Everybody hits stretches like this. Work gets heavy, life piles up, you coast for a bit, and then you come out the other side of it. I wasn't going to be the guy who turns it into a whole thing. So I tried again the next night. We'd just finished watching a comedy, both of us laughing, relaxed. Felt like a natural moment. I leaned over, kissed her. She kissed me back for maybe 3 seconds, then pulled away. "I have an early client call tomorrow. I need real sleep tonight." Dana had client calls every single week, multiple times a week. It had never been an issue before. I said, okay, rolled over, added it to the quiet tally I was running in the back of my head without really meaning to. 5 rejections in 8 days. Saturday came around. No work the next day, no meetings to hide behind. I put in real effort that evening. Cooked a proper dinner, lit some candles, put on a playlist we both liked. We had a genuinely good night. Talked for a long time, laughed, enjoyed each other's company the way we used to. By the time we headed to bed, I actually felt optimistic about where things were going. I made my move. Gentle, affectionate, nothing aggressive about it. I ate too much. I feel bloated and uncomfortable. She'd eaten a completely normal portion, same as every night. Had seemed perfectly comfortable and relaxed through the entire dinner, laughing and talking the whole time. I told myself maybe she really was uncomfortable. Maybe I was being too sensitive. Maybe I was reading things into a situation that didn't mean what I was starting to think it meant. Except I wasn't. Tuesday, October 3rd. Quiet evening. Nothing remotely stressful about it. Got ready for bed around 10. I tried just cuddling up next to her, not making it a big thing, just seeing where it might naturally go. "Not tonight. I'm getting a headache." She didn't take anything for it. Didn't bring it up again. 20 minutes later, she was breathing peacefully, completely out. No tossing around, no sign of any pain or discomfort whatsoever. 7 rejections in less than 2 weeks. Almost 7 weeks without any real intimacy. And I was starting to see the shape of something I genuinely did not want to be looking at. Friday, October 6th. I decided to just be direct about it. Not confrontational, not emotional. Just honest. It had been over 6 weeks. That's not a normal stretch for a married couple unless both people are actually fine with it. We clearly weren't. Dana, it's been a while. I miss being close to you. Can we just talk about this? I'm stressed with the campaign launch. The campaign had finished 3 weeks earlier. She'd told me it went great, that the client was thrilled with the results. I sat with that for a moment. A successfully completed project from nearly a month ago was still generating enough residual stress to keep her husband at arm's length. That was the excuse. But here's what got me more than the excuse itself. She didn't just brush it off and redirect the conversation. She made me feel guilty for bringing it up in the first place. Like I was making it into something. Like wanting to be close to my own wife after 6+ weeks was some kind of unreasonable ask. Sunday afternoon, October 8th, I tried a totally different approach. Spontaneous, playful during the day. We used to love lazy Sunday afternoons together. Early in the marriage, it was practically a standing tradition between us. Owen, seriously, it's the middle of the day. That's weird. Weird. She called something we used to genuinely enjoy together weird. Like I'd suggested something strange instead of something that used to make us both happy. I filed that away and didn't push it. Wednesday, October 11th. 8 weeks. I needed to know if there was something actually wrong that I was missing entirely. Dana, is there something going on? It's been almost 2 months. If there's a real problem here, I want to fix it. You're putting too much pressure on this. That's why I don't want to. My fault. I was creating pressure by wanting to be close to my wife after 8 weeks. I was the problem, not the 8 weeks of being turned away. Me. Thursday, October 12th. I tried being as low-key as possible. Didn't reference the timeline. Didn't frame it as anything. Just a casual, easy approach, like it was nothing at all. I'm exhausted. Can we please just sleep? She'd been up until 1 in the morning the previous night watching some show, but tonight she was exhausted. Saturday morning, October 14th. Both of us well-rested. A fresh start to the weekend. I haven't even had coffee yet. Way too early. So, 9:30 in the morning was too early. The middle of the day was weird. Nighttime, she was always too tired. There was apparently no acceptable window anymore. Not one she was willing to offer. That same night, we went out for dinner at a spot in Fells Point we both liked. Real date night energy. Both dressed up, trying to just be easy with each other. We had a good time. Talked, laughed, held hands across the table. For a little while, I actually thought something had shifted. We got home around 10. I tried one more time. Not tonight. Let's not force it. I said, okay, rolled to my side of the bed, and quietly, without any argument or scene, made a decision. I was done initiating. Done making the first move. If Dana wanted intimacy in this marriage, she was going to have to reach for it herself. Because I was finished putting myself out there to be turned down. 9 rejections over 17 days. Almost 8 weeks without any physical connection beyond the occasional hello or goodbye hug. And every single time I tried to address it, somehow I became the problem. Too demanding. Creating pressure. Making it weird. So I stopped. Completely. Pause for a second. And for the listeners, this is me jumping in, not the OP. I want you to notice what just happened. Owen didn't blow up. Didn't fire off a long, angry text at 2 in the morning. Didn't threaten to leave and then not follow through. He just quietly decided to stop trying. And that silence is the loudest thing a man can do in this situation. Most guys would have lost it by week 3. Owen made it to week 8 without folding. That kind of patience is rare. The problem is, Dana never noticed the patience at all, and she's about to show exactly how comfortable she is with him disappearing. Sunday, October 15th. I was pleasant, helpful around the house, normal as ever. We ran errands together, grabbed lunch, came home and watched a movie on the couch. Normal couple stuff in every way, except I kept my physical distance. No affectionate touches during the movie, no cuddling, no attempts at anything beyond just being in the same room. Dana didn't notice. She seemed completely comfortable with the new arrangement, like nothing had changed at all. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, same thing. We coexisted fine, talked about work, made plans for the upcoming weekend, figured out dinners. But I kept that wall up. Not cold, not visibly distant, just neutral. The way 2 roommates who got along well would share a space. She still didn't notice. Thursday night, we were watching TV on the couch. Dana put her feet in my lap, the way she always did when she was relaxed and comfortable. Normally, I would have rubbed her feet, let things gradually shift from there, tried to build some kind of connection out of the moment. This time, I just let them sit there in my lap. Didn't massage them. Didn't do anything. Just let them rest. She didn't react at all. Didn't look over. Didn't seem to register the difference. Just kept watching TV, completely at ease. That's when the picture really sharpened for me. She wanted me physically present in the room, but with zero expectation of connection attached to it. No effort from my side, no attempt at closeness, no ask for anything more than sharing the same couch at the end of the day. She didn't want a husband. She wanted a roommate who covered half the bills and didn't create complications. Sunday, October 22nd. We spent the whole day together. Brunch at a place she'd been wanting to try, a long walk along the inner harbor enjoying the fall weather, made dinner at home, watched a movie, a full day as a married couple. We held hands briefly while we were walking outside. That was it. That was the total physical affection for an entire day spent together. And Dana seemed genuinely happy with that. Relaxed, pleasant, content. I felt like I was living with someone who wore my wife's face, but had none of the things that had made her my wife in the first place. By Thursday, October 26th, I'd been running this quiet experiment for 2 full weeks. 2 weeks of zero initiation on my end. Zero response from hers. 2 weeks of her not noticing or not caring that her husband had completely withdrawn emotionally. I kept waiting for some moment where she'd reach for me, or ask if something was wrong, or show any sign at all that the absence registered. I kept thinking, surely at some point she has to notice that I've gone cold. Surely something trips a wire. Nothing. Not a word, not a glance, not a single moment where she paused and looked at me like something was off. She was completely at ease. That told me everything I needed to know before she even opened her mouth. We were in the kitchen cleaning up after dinner. Dana was in a noticeably good mood, humming to herself while loading the dishwasher. She started talking about a festival coming up in Federal Hill the following weekend, said we should go check it out. Light, easy, relaxed, happy. Then she said the thing that ended the marriage. You know, I feel like we've been getting along really well lately. I set down the plate I was holding. Yeah? What's different? I don't know. You just seem more relaxed, less tense. She was right. I was more relaxed, because I'd stopped caring, stopped hoping, stopped setting myself up for the same wall every single night, and then lying awake afterward wondering what I was doing wrong. It's nice. This is how it should be. I stood there and absorbed that. This is how it should be. A marriage where I don't reach for her, where I don't pursue her, don't push for connection, where I keep a pleasant, comfortable distance and never ask for anything that makes her uncomfortable. What do you mean? She actually smiled at me. A warm, genuine smile. When we're not all focused on that other stuff, we're actually good together. See? This is how it should be. That other stuff. She meant intimacy. She'd taken what's supposed to be a core part of marriage and reduced it down to that other stuff. The way you'd refer to something annoying and optional that you're glad to finally be rid of. And she was celebrating. Standing in our kitchen, humming, smiling, genuinely happy that I had apparently given up. I kept my face completely neutral. Yeah, I guess you're right. But inside, everything just locked into place. She didn't want a husband. She wanted a pleasant roommate who didn't make demands. And she believed I'd accepted that arrangement. Thought I was settled into it right alongside her. She had no idea what she'd just handed me. That night, after she fell asleep, I lay in the dark and started making plans. Hold on, this is still me, not Owen. That line right there, that other stuff. She didn't say she was going through something difficult. Didn't say she needed more time. She smiled and told him that a marriage without intimacy is how it should be. That's not a rough patch. That's a verdict. And Owen heard it exactly right. No overanalyzing, no convincing himself she must have meant something different. She handed him the truth on a plate, and he believed her. She celebrated one move too early. The exit strategy was already forming before she finished that sentence. The next day was Friday. I spent my lunch break calling around to a few divorce attorneys, found one who had an opening Monday afternoon. After work, I drove through Canton looking at available apartments. Found a furnished one-bedroom with a month-to-month lease, ready for immediate move-in. Scheduled a walkthrough for Saturday morning. Saturday, October 28th. I walked through the place. Small, nothing remarkable. But it was mine. A space where I wouldn't spend every night feeling like wanting normal human connection was some kind of character defect. I signed the lease that afternoon and told the landlord I'd move in Monday. Then I called my buddy Kyle and told him everything. He was floored. Couldn't believe it had gotten this far. But once I walked him through the full timeline, the rejections, the rotating excuses, and especially what Dana had said Thursday night in the kitchen, he got it fast. She actually said that? That she's happier when you stop trying? That's cold, man. What are you going to do? I'm leaving Sunday. Sunday? Don't you think you should talk to her first? I'm going to talk to her right before I leave. That evening, while Dana was out with friends, I packed 2 suitcases. Enough clothes for a couple weeks. Loaded them quietly into the trunk of my car. Came back inside and waited. Sunday morning, October 29th. The day everything ended. Dana slept in, came downstairs around 10 in her pajamas, completely relaxed, made herself coffee, and started scrolling her phone at the kitchen table. I watched her for a minute from the doorway, totally absorbed in whatever was on that screen, perfectly content in her own little world, not a hint of anything weighing on her. She looked up when I sat down across from her. Morning. Sleep well, Dana. We need to talk. She set her phone down, gave me her full attention. Okay, what's up? I'm moving out today. The confusion that crossed her face would have almost been funny if the situation wasn't what it was. She actually let out a short laugh, like she'd misheard something and was waiting for me to correct myself. What? What are you talking about? I've already found an apartment in Canton. I packed last night. I'm moving out today. Is this some kind of joke? Owen, what's going on? I told her what she'd said Thursday night in the kitchen, repeated it back exactly. She tried to walk it back immediately, said she only meant we'd been fighting less lately, that I was taking it the wrong way. I told her we hadn't been fighting because I'd given up, because I'd spent 2 full weeks not touching her, not trying, not asking for anything, and she'd responded by smiling and telling me this was the marriage she wanted. That's not what I meant. That's exactly what you meant. 2 weeks, Dana. I didn't reach for you once, and you were the happiest you'd been in months. You literally smiled and said that's how it should be. I just liked that there was no pressure. There hasn't been pressure. I was patient for 8 weeks. 9 rejections in 17 days. I counted every single one. Her face changed when I said that. You were counting? I was paying attention. There's a difference. So what? You're leaving because we haven't been intimate enough? I'm leaving because you don't want me. And you're genuinely happy about it. She kept trying to reframe what she'd said. Kept searching for the version of it that would sound different than it obviously was. When I finally asked her directly, okay, so how did you mean it then? She had nothing. Just sat there looking at me, trying to find an angle that didn't exist. That silence was all the answer I needed. You're being dramatic. Every marriage goes through phases. This isn't a phase. This is who you are. You want a roommate, not a husband. She started crying then. Real tears, not performative. Part of me registered that. But I'd spent too many nights after being turned away wondering what was wrong with me. I'd already done my grieving for this marriage. Her tears now didn't move anything. We can fix this. Fix what? You don't think anything is broken. You were happy. You said so yourself. I'm not happy with you leaving. But you were happy with me giving up. Those aren't the same thing. She asked if we could just sit down and really talk it through. I told her we were talking right now, and she still hadn't said she actually wanted me. That she was upset I was leaving, not upset that she'd spent 2 months shutting me out. The silence that followed confirmed everything. She couldn't say it. Couldn't even come close to saying it. She didn't want what she'd been rejecting for months. She just didn't want the inconvenience of dealing with the fallout of me being gone. I got up from the table. I'll be back this week for the rest of my things. Owen, wait. I've waited long enough. 8 weeks, 9 rejections. 2 weeks of you not noticing I'd completely checked out. I'm done, Dana. I walked out, got in my car with the suitcases in the trunk, and drove to Canton. 3 miles from the woman I'd married. But it felt like a completely different universe already. Okay, stop. This part matters and I don't want it to slide by. He didn't leave in a rage. Didn't do the thing where you threaten to go and then stick around waiting to be talked out of it. He had one calm, honest conversation, gave her the exact reason, and then walked out. No ultimatums, no dramatic exit speech. Just, you told me this is how it should be, so I made it permanent. That's the move. For the listeners, still me, not the OP, the exit is done. Now watch what happens when she realizes he actually meant every single word of it. Monday afternoon, I sat down with the divorce attorney. He went through the standard questions. Was I sure? Any realistic chance of things changing? I told him I was completely sure, and there was no chance at all. He walked me through the process. Straightforward case, no kids, not much to divide. Said it could be wrapped up in a few months if she didn't complicate things. Let's file today. He seemed a little caught off guard by how clear I was about it, but he drew up the paperwork and I signed everything. Said he'd reach out to Dana's attorney once she retained one. My phone had been going all morning. 7 missed calls from Dana, a stack of texts I hadn't opened. I finally sent one response. Papers are filed. Attorney will contact you. Tuesday, she showed up at my office. The front desk called my extension, said my wife was downstairs asking to see me. I went down more out of genuine curiosity than anything else. She looked rough, eyes red and swollen, clearly hadn't slept at all. I felt something small and distant pull for a second. Then I thought about 9 rejections in 17 days. Remembered her smiling in the kitchen telling me this is how it should be. We need to talk about this properly. We did talk. You told me what you wanted. I'm giving you exactly that. A life where nobody pressures you for that other stuff. I never said I wanted a divorce. You said you wanted a marriage without intimacy. Same thing. She kept insisting that wasn't what she meant. Security had started watching us. Other people in the lobby were noticing. I wasn't doing this in front of my colleagues. I need to get back to work. Please don't come here again, Dana. Talk to a lawyer, sign the papers, and let's just make this as clean as possible. I walked back to the elevators and left her standing there. Felt something for maybe 30 seconds. Then I thought about putting myself out there over and over for 8 straight weeks and getting the door shut in my face every single time without a second thought. Wednesday, she sent a 2,000-word email. How stressed she'd been, how she didn't realize how bad things had gotten, how she'd work harder and be more present and show up differently if I'd just give her another shot. Promises stacked on top of more promises. I read it once. She never actually apologized for the rejections. Never acknowledged what she'd said in the kitchen that Thursday night. Never admitted to being relieved when I stopped trying. Just a long list of explanations wrapped in promises to try harder at something she clearly didn't actually want. I didn't respond. Thursday, I went back to the house to pick up more of my things. Dana was there waiting. She'd clearly spent time preparing for this, had things she wanted to say. Did you read my email? I did. I'm still leaving. You're not even willing to try? Not even going to work on this at all? I tried for 8 weeks, Dana. You didn't notice. You didn't care. And when I stopped, you celebrated. There's nothing here to work on. She broke down then, heaving, real sobs that filled the whole house. I kept packing, methodical, steady. I'd already run out of emotional reactions to her tears. There was nothing left in that well. You've changed. This isn't who you are. I accepted reality. You should try it sometime. 3 boxes in the car. I left without a hug, without a promise to stay in touch, without anything. Just left. Friday, her attorney contacted mine. She wanted to contest the divorce, wanted some kind of reconciliation process put in place before things moved forward. My answer through the attorney, no. She texted me that afternoon. You've changed. You're being cruel. I responded one last time. I've accepted reality. You should too. Then I muted her number. Didn't block it, just muted it. Let her send whatever she needed to send. I just wouldn't see it unless I chose to go looking. Let me jump in for a second, because this detail matters. He didn't block her. He muted her. And that difference is everything. Blocking is reactive. It means she still has enough pull to make him want to cut the line. Muting is something else entirely. It's, I don't need to manage this anymore. She can talk into the void as long as she needs to. He's not angry. He's just done. And here's what nobody talks about. Going fully quiet on someone is more disorienting than any argument ever could be. Dana wanted a reaction, proof he still cared enough to be angry. He gave her nothing. Now watch what he builds. The first couple weeks in the new place were strange in a way I hadn't expected. I'd wake up in the morning and forget for a split second where I was. Then I'd remember. And instead of dread, there was just quiet relief. No lying there bracing for another rejection. No starting the day already calculating whether tonight might be different. No walking on eggshells or editing myself before I even got out of bed. Just my own space, my own pace, my own life. The first night I slept through completely without waking up at 2 in the morning. I almost didn't know what to do with that. It had been so long since rest actually felt like rest. My whole body had been on low-level alert for months, without me fully realizing it. Sleeping in a place where there was nothing to dread apparently makes a serious difference. I threw myself into work. Got a promotion about a month in. Something I'd been pushing toward for a while, but hadn't had the mental bandwidth to actually close while I was stuck in survival mode at home. Started going to the gym regularly again, which I'd completely let slide during the last stretch of the marriage. Reconnected with guys I'd fallen out of touch with. Started enjoying my actual life again instead of running a constant internal audit on everything I was apparently doing wrong. Kyle kept me loosely posted on what Dana was up to, even though I never asked. She'd started seeing someone not long after I moved out. Met him through her professional circle. She was posting a lot on social media. New beginnings, fresh starts, turning pages, all that. I scrolled past it once by accident and felt genuinely nothing about it. No jealousy, no satisfaction, not even much curiosity. I had genuinely, cleanly moved on. It surprised me, honestly. I'd expected it to sting at least a little. It didn't. That indifference was its own kind of confirmation that I'd made the right call. 3 months later, in February, the divorce was finalized. Quick and clean, exactly like the attorney had said. We split what little there was to divide. She kept the house. I kept my car and my peace of mind. Kyle texted me the day it was official. "You okay, man?" Better than I've been in a year. And I meant every word of it. The relief was something I couldn't have fully described to anyone who hadn't been sitting in that exact situation. In April, I met Layla at an industry event through work connections. She was in project design, sharp, genuinely funny, and one of those rare people who's actually present in a conversation instead of just waiting for a gap to fill. We got into a real back and forth about a challenge that kept coming up in both our fields and ended up talking for almost 2 hours without either of us noticing the time. She asked for my number before we left. I gave it to her. We went out the following weekend. The difference was obvious from the first hour. Layla was engaged, asked real questions, actually listened to the answers, followed up on things I'd mentioned 15 minutes earlier. When we said goodnight, she leaned into it and made it completely clear she was into it. No pulling back, no excuse about an early morning, no making me feel like I'd overstepped by wanting a decent goodnight kiss. Second date, she invited me back to her place. No games, no ambiguity, just two people who were actually into each other acting like it. Lying there afterward, I realized what I'd actually been missing. Not just the obvious part, but the feeling of being genuinely wanted, of someone choosing you on purpose, clearly, without hesitation, without making it feel like a negotiation or a favor. I'd been missing that for long enough that I'd quietly started to wonder if the problem was me. It wasn't me. We kept seeing each other. Nothing too serious at first, just genuinely enjoying the time together. But it grew into something real faster than either of us probably expected. Layla was affectionate, showed up, made time even when her schedule was packed. Chose me in the small everyday ways and in the bigger ones when it mattered. July. Kyle and I met up at a coffee spot in Fells Point to catch up properly. We were about halfway into it when he got a look on his face. "Dude, you're not going to believe this." "What?" "Dana reached out to me last week, asked how you were doing." I wasn't particularly concerned. "And?" I told her you were seeing someone. She completely fell apart. What do you mean, fell apart? Started asking if it was serious. I said it seemed like it. She started crying right there. She said, he looked at his phone. She said, he never fought for us. He just gave up. I laughed at that. Genuinely. I fought for 8 weeks. She didn't notice. That's exactly what I told her, Kyle said. She'd apparently said she would have come around eventually. Eventually after what? A year? 2? That's what I asked. She didn't have an answer. He took a sip of his coffee. She also said the thing that bothers her most is how happy you seem now. I am happy, genuinely. She's been posting too. Passive-aggressive stuff about exes who move on too fast. In her mind, you were supposed to wait around, keep proving how much you wanted her by accepting whatever she gave you. And here's the other thing. She's been dating since that first guy, but nothing's sticking. She tells people they're not present enough, too distant. They keep their emotional distance and won't commit. I sat back and let that sink in. She was experiencing exactly what she'd put me through. She posts about quality time and presence and all the things she never gave you, Kyle said. The universe has a sense of humor. Late July. Layla and I were walking along the inner harbor on a Saturday afternoon, holding hands, laughing about something completely stupid, totally in our own world. That's when I spotted her. Dana, maybe 20 feet away, standing completely still, staring at us. Layla noticed my expression change. You okay? Yeah, just someone I used to know. Dana walked over before I could redirect us. I could have avoided the whole thing easily enough, but I had nothing to hide and nothing to be ashamed of. I hadn't done anything wrong. I kept my voice completely easy. Dana. She managed a hello, looked between Layla and me, clearly not prepared for this version of things at all. I kept it simple. Layla, this is Dana, my ex-wife. Dana, this is Layla. I watched the color go out of Dana's face. She hadn't expected this. Hadn't expected to see me looking this settled, this at ease, with someone standing right next to me who obviously wanted to be there. Layla, who had absolutely no idea who Dana was, gave a genuine, warm hello. We stood there for a moment that got uncomfortable fast. I could see Dana taking it all in, the way Layla and I stood close, the easy comfort between us, the thing that she and I had never actually managed together. Not in the last year of our marriage, anyway. Well, we should get going. Take care of yourself, Dana. I guided Layla away, felt Dana's eyes on our backs as we walked. Layla waited until we were well clear. That was your ex-wife? Yeah. She seemed upset. Not my problem anymore. Fair enough. A short pause. You okay? I stopped, turned to face her, took both her hands. I'm better than okay. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. She kissed me right there on the walkway, chose me again in that simple, easy moment, without a second of hesitation. Final update. About a week later, Kyle texted and said Dana had sent me something recently. Suggested I might want to go check it. I'd been ignoring that muted thread for months. Probably 60 or 70 unread messages sitting in there by that point. I opened it up and scrolled to the most recent one. I understand now. I'm sorry. I sat with that for a long time. Thought about responding with everything I'd been sitting on for months, laying out exactly what that whole stretch had cost me. How many nights I'd spent staring at the ceiling, wondering what was wrong with me. How far the constant rejection had worn into something I couldn't easily name. Instead, I typed one sentence. I hope you find what you're looking for. Her response came back almost immediately. I had it. I just didn't realize until it was gone. I read it twice, felt absolutely nothing. No satisfaction, no anger, no vindication. Just nothing at all. She'd figured it out on the wrong side of too late. That was her thing to carry now, not mine. I didn't respond, blocked the number and deleted the entire thread. Closed that chapter for good. Dana wanted a marriage where I stopped reaching for her, where I didn't pursue her, didn't ask for closeness, where I maintained a comfortable, friendly distance and never made anything feel like pressure. I gave her exactly that, my complete and total absence. She celebrated when I stopped trying, smiled in our kitchen, and told me this is how it should be. So I made it permanent, gave her all the space she wanted. Turns out she'd never actually done the math on what that looked like long term. She had a man who wanted nothing more than to connect with her, who wanted to build something real, who kept trying for 8 solid weeks before quietly accepting what she was showing him. She made him feel like having completely normal human needs was a burden, chose comfortable avoidance over honesty, and now she gets to scroll through other people's lives and sit with that choice. The painful part, the part she probably can't fully admit to herself, is that nothing was actually wrong with the marriage. Nothing external broke it. No affair, no disaster, no falling out of love in some obvious way. She just stopped wanting to be close to her own husband, made him feel wrong for wanting that back, and then was genuinely surprised when he eventually believed her. She had her chances, 9 of them technically, across 17 days. Every single time she said no, then smiled when I finally stopped asking. So I gave her what she wanted, a life without me in it. What do you guys think? At what point would you have walked? And have you ever been on either side of something like this without fully realizing what was happening? Drop it in the comments. Dana got exactly what she asked for. A calm husband who stopped reaching, stopped trying, stopped making anything feel like pressure. She just never thought through the fine print. That version of the marriage eventually walks out the front door. The second she smiled and called intimacy that other stuff, the marriage was over. She just didn't know it yet. Owen didn't yell, didn't beg, didn't negotiate with someone who'd already made up her mind. He paid attention, made a plan, and gave her the silence she'd been asking for. Permanently. Drop a like and subscribe if this one hit close, and leave your take below. At what point was he right to walk?